this formula I used every time I made a plan. And the very first time that I used this formula, not only was what I was planning a hit, we were able to replicate it and have a structured format already in place for that same thing that we were doing. It was glorious. Hey everybody, welcome to the Comfort Zone 360. My name is Davey, your host. And on today's episode, we're going to dive in and talk about plans, right? We're going to talk about making plans and how they truly just pan out for the best. I am one that am terrible with making plans, right? I've always been terrible with making plans, and I didn't have anything in place to kind of help me plan anything or just get anything ready to go. How many times have you've made plans and it just didn't go through? It didn't execute. It didn't go nowhere, right? Or you've planned to have a family outing and you guys make it out there, but it was like pulling teeth to get out there, essentially. It was rough. You had to go through so many different struggles and hurdles just to get to that point, but you made it, but you're exhausted, right? Plans can either go one way or go a completely different way. And one of those things is we feel that we have no control over it. We feel like we have no grasp to really execute those plans properly. So being able to have some plans in place and executing them with the proper preparation, then they start becoming almost beautiful. Have you ever attended something that just seems so beautiful and you didn't have to do nothing but show up? You didn't have nothing to do in the planning, nothing to do in the preparation stage, right? And you get there and it's just well structured. It's beautiful. It's eye appealing. Everything is in place and everything is just flowing very smoothly, right? And you wonder, how is it that they planned something so small or something so grand and they were so fluid with it? They were flowing. They were making it happen, essentially. You know, one of my biggest things that I used to do a lot growing up was going to the beach. We went to the beach a lot, right? I would say we were at the beach more than maybe 3 times a week, essentially. And every time we went to the beach, it was a headache, it was a struggle, and I didn't want to be there, right? Not because the beach is not a beautiful place. It's honestly somewhere where you can just escape and allow your mentality to connect with the earth and just hear the ocean. It's a beautiful experience, you know, day, night, afternoon, whatever the case is. Being at the beach is honestly one of the most beautiful things that you can truly just be a part of. I didn't want to do it those 3 times a week, right? I didn't want to be a part of that. Not because it wasn't beautiful, but because the planning was so terrible. The preparation was so terrible that it was like, all right, let's go to the beach. What do we do? I don't know. Get in the car. We'll figure it out. Right? That's a great thing to do once in a blue moon, but all the time is a problem. I didn't want to go to the beach. I didn't want to do any of that because the plan was there, but the preparation wasn't there. We weren't prepared to go every time. And if we just took the time to prepare ourselves, the transition could have been so much smoother. You know, being able to do these things, and this is not only just going to the beach or going to a park or whatever. It's not only for that. Having plans in place with the proper preparation honestly can be used in any circumstances. You're tired of making plans and them not falling through. You're sick of it. I was sick of it too. I was so tired of it that I just stopped making plans and I just allowed other people to make plans. That goes hand in hand with allowing other people to make the decisions for you. I did not want to be responsible for the plan making because when my plans didn't go through, I'd get pissed off, right? And I'd get angry because I had the plan in place and I wanted to do that, but it wasn't done. I kept falling in that same cycle. I kept falling in that same pattern over and over again. How do I create something and execute at the highest possible? Well, that's when I had to put this very simple formula called PPE in place, right? This formula I used every time I made a plan. And the very first time that I used this formula, not only was what I was planning a hit, we were able to replicate it and have a structured format already in place for that same thing that we were doing. It was glorious. That connection or that bridge is called PPE. Some of you may know it. Some of you may not. PPE stands for plan, prepare, and execute. Right? You put your plans, you prepare your plans, and you execute them. Very simple. PPE is rolled out every time I hear, we should plan something. Well, hey, I got a PPE over here. Huh? A what? A PPE. Plan, prepare, execute. Let's organize our plans, what we want to do. Let's prepare our plans, and let's execute our plans. How many of you have been to a fine dining restaurant and it was just absolutely exquisite? It was beautiful. The meal was just phenomenal, bursting with flavor. The presentation was like no other. The placement of each item on your plate, aesthetically looking beautiful and appetizing. The carefulness, the love, and the dedication that was placed into that plate all starts with PPE. Every morning, the executive chef walks into that kitchen, that fine dining restaurant kitchen, and creates essentially a menu. And this menu has very complicated items, but are just delicious. Well, imagine that chef not preparing all those individual items that needed to be prepared beforehand to make the actual execution smoother. Plan, prepare, and execute. You know, it's like when a chef goes in to start his day, and I mean an executive chef, the head honcho of the kitchen, right? When he goes in to start his day and he goes in to prepare everything that he needs to execute, he goes in that format. He doesn't go and try to start executing meals at the end of the day. No, he goes in with a plan. He goes in to know what the menu is. What is everything that's going to be served to everyone? That plan essentially is the basis of the entire actual dinner. It's the basis of everything. So that plan is in place. Then he has to go in and start preparing. That's when he has like his sous chefs and his assistants, and he has all these different people that play a different part to make this plan a reality. So that's, if we're making like potatoes and steak, how do we prepare for that? Well, we cut up the potatoes, we cut up the steaks to the specific medallion sizes that we're going to be utilizing for each dinner to keep that consistency. So doing all these little things to start a dinner service is how an executive chef truly plans and prepares for an amazing result. So when you have your plan in place and you start preparing everything, now you have to execute, right? So execution has to do with the action of doing it now. So I'm going to create something. Let's say a meal. I'm going to create a meal. So the first thing I put is the idea, the plan. What do I want? I want chicken noodle soup, right? So putting that idea in place gives me a clear view of what I want. Now I have to prepare everything to be able to make this chicken noodle soup, right? I have to purchase the noodles, I have to purchase the vegetables, the chicken, the seasonings, all these different things to be able to complete it. And that's not even, the beginning part. The end of it is actually still prepping everything that you need to create this meal. Chopping vegetables, cleaning meats, preparing the seasonings, the amounts of seasonings that you're going to use. All these different things are in your preparation stage. This is that stage that you're actually doing things to make your plan a reality, to make it come true. And once you get to that last stage, which is execution, that's going to allow you to do everything that you've worked so hard for up until this moment and complete your goal, right? You can utilize this in any format. You can utilize plan, preparation, and execution anyway. You're planning a birthday party? Put it on the PPE. You're planning to apply for a certain job that you really, really want to go and get? Put it on your PPE, right? You want to plan a wedding. You want to plan, a night outing with your friends. PPE, plan, prepare, and execute. You have to keep yourself accountable for what you do. And being able to keep yourself accountable, you can't just expect to remember it all, right? You can't expect to have all these different tasks that you have to do and just keep it in the back of your head and keep it remembered. You can't do that. So what can you do? What is something that you can put in your path to make you successful in completing any plan that you put your mind to? Well, that's going to be PPE. And once you have PPE in place, then you can really see your goals and you can see them being accomplished. Cleaning your house, we all do it, right? Some of us procrastinate and push it off to the side, but some of us actually just clean in the morning, clean whenever we can, essentially, and we clean our home. And that's cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the bathrooms, fixing our bed. We naturally just do those things because we have been accustomed to just do it, getting it done. But something that we haven't been accustomed to do is congratulating ourselves or appreciating ourselves or showing us the self-love and the self-care once we complete those things. Every time I fix my bed, I look at my bed and say, wow, that's a beautiful bed. That's awesome. Thank you. Every time I start to prepare a meal, after the meal is done and everyone's eaten and we're done, cleaned up, wow, that was an awesome meal. I did an awesome job. Thank you. Right? It's not being conceited or being stuck up. It's just showing yourself the love and appreciation that you have to show yourself to keep going, right? And having a plan in place, completing your plan, and showing yourself the appreciation gives you something inside that you can't obtain from anywhere else. It gives you that feeling of accomplishment that you can only give yourself. It gives you that sense of completion. It gives you that sense of love that you did something to benefit and better your future. So it's time to stop having unorganized plans. It's time to take all the tangled, organized mess that you have and put it into something that you can make happen, right? And when you structure this, especially your plans, when you structure your plans, you leave room and more time for yourself. You know, I've been to events with families that I was in charge of planning a specific part of this, or I was in charge of the entire operation, right? And having that planned allowed me to start preparing everything that I needed for that. And then I executed it. This plan, essentially, it's a big plan. It wasn't a small plan. We're talking about, 100 plus family members that are going to be attending, this one event essentially. So I have to kind of think of not only how I would want certain things done, but how other people will enjoy it. So all that was in my planning stage, in my preparation stage. And when I got to the moment and I executed, right, my portion of my plan was executed flawlessly. And it's time that you start executing flawlessly. It's time that you take your life and all your plans that you want and start to fit it into something that you can make happen. It's time that you take everything that you want and start to plan it. Start to prepare for it and execute them. You have to stop putting yourself in a position that you can't do something or you don't want to do something. Because you don't have the proper plans in place. You didn't have the proper preparation in place. And you didn't have the execution inside of you to do it. But what you did have is all the excuses that allowed you not to be successful using the PPE. One of the hardest things in life is watching life pass you by. Watching other people's life pass you by. I know in your head it seems all over the place. And I know deep down it seems like it's uncontrollable. But you have the control. You have the ability to make anything happen. You have the opportunities that will genuinely open doors that you never thought were going to open for you. We're talking about using PPE to an event, or we're using it to prepare for, a party or whatever, something small. How about taking that PPE format or that formula and using it on a grander scale? Right? You want to become a doctor? Well, guess what? Put that into your PPE. Right? Make your wants and your dreams a reality. If you don't make it a reality, you're going to want to make great things in life. But if you don't make it your reality, you're going to also watch it just slip right out of your hands. Stop with the excuses. Stop with the abilities of procrastinating. Stop and take control of your future. Stop and take control of what you want to do in life. No one else can control you. No one else can control your future. Only you have control. Only you can dictate what's going to happen in your future. So let success, happiness, and abundance of love happen. Live a life that you want to live. Stop letting other people tell you how to live your life. It's time that you live your life your way. It's time that you wake up and you realize that you have so much more potential. I can tell you right now, you are going to attack your goals with such a rage that you're going to be extremely successful mentally, physically, and emotionally. If you don't have the proper plans, the proper preparation, and the execution to go after whatever you want, then your goals become just an idea. And if you're ready to take that idea and make it a reality, it's time to wake up. It's time to plan. It's time to prepare. And it's definitely time to execute. My name is Davey, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today's podcast. And until next time. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast. It is truly an honor for you guys just to be here and share these incredible messages with you guys. If you gained any value from today's podcast, can you please, guys, just like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you can stay up to date with amazing other episodes that we have coming your way. We also have amazing guest speakers coming on the show to just continue spreading just amazing words that can be simplified for anyone to utilize just on an everyday basis. So please keep shining, keep being the best you, don't give up on your dreams, and until next time, guys, thank you so much.